Can't believe finals are already here, but I hope everyone has a great break. Anyways, what I wanted to gain from this class was the ability to slow down in my speeches, and even with talking to friends on an everyday basis. Because when I tell a story or I give a speech, I tend to be really slow at first, and then I start to speed up so quickly that you can't understand me. And that's not good because then you miss half the story. I wanted to also work on presenting self, and that is the image you present to people, because I tend to have a mean looking face when walking down the hallways. I try and smile at people, but mostly I have a mean face on, and that's not very approachable, so I would like to work on having a more approachable face. And I also wanted to work on mindful listening, because it means listening to people more firmly and actually taking in what they say. Because I tend to zone out when people talk for a really long time and I start to daydream. And that is not nice because sometimes they are saying things that are meant for my ears only. And I basically just blew them off because I'm not really listening. I believe my persuasive speech was the best speech because I had all the tools I needed from the class and I tried to use them to the best of my abilities. And what I learned from other people's speeches, I kind of took bits and pieces of everyone's speech, of how some people were nervous, and I thought to myself, okay, well, overcome nervous. Some people had really good topics, and then other people had just really good stance. In other words, they didn't fidget like I tend to. For my interview speech, I tried mapping it out in a more logical way. I knew the person I wanted to interview from the start, so I had to organize questions and set up a date and time to interview her. This helped with presenting my speech because I felt confident with how much I learned, and I made sure I studied enough to feel confident in front of an audience. Not only that, was I made sure I got the speech and the interview questions out of the way, so that way I can work on presenting more than anything else and being confident in front of the audience. The method I chose in my informative speech was describing, because as you recall, I talked about guns and suicide, and I described how a gun works and also how it relates to suicide. Description is where you paint a word picture of the essential factors that make something what it is. So I tried painting a picture of how guns and suicide relate via the fact that people would still commit suicide even if they didn't have easy access to a gun. So, desired outcome was my main approach to my speech by using the techniques convincing on page 409 in our human textbook. My goal was to convince the audience that sports, starting from a young age to adulthood, leads kids to a better path. I noticed I'd slow down in my speeches and I didn't sound nervous on my last speech, and that was because I learned so much in the class. I tried using less manipulation, which is using parts of your body to fidget, page 181 in our book. My instructor said I had good flow, eye contact, and voice projection, and my classmates said the same thing. They also said I had good topics to discuss, so I was super happy about that. My time needed to improve though, and also my credibility for my speeches. I did not always state the name of which article I was reading in my speech, and also I kind of mixed up speeches. I started using a more persuasive tactic in my informative speech, which is not good. It was supposed to be just informative, not informative and persuasive. So, And my personal goal is to stay fit, and my professional goal is to be a teacher, which was also why I did the interview speech by a teacher, because that is what I want to do. So I know in college I will always have projects that I have to present, but in hopefully about 2 years I will be continuing to present every day in a classroom to young minds who want to learn. And I hope one day I do become a teacher for elementary kids. And I hope everyone else meets their goals as well. Thank you.